when you come into this industry, you're met with all kinds of enticements. Quit your job, get rich, drive these cars, go to these fancy places, get finer looking women, get a better man, all those types of things. And I found out early on, they were not my initial motivators, but when I had a taste of money, the very first few times where I had winning trades and I felt like I had it figured out when I didn't. And that's the problem with having the first few years of your trading. You're going to be convinced that you figured it out. Even if you're having short-term, immediate reward by doing something, you may not understand what it is that you did, but you're looking at the fact that you made that money. The ones that don't make it, they swear up and down that they put the time in. They swear up and down. I saw a guy the other day on Twitter. I'm sick and tired of hearing I haven't studied long enough or I haven't put the time in. When I see that, I mute you. I'll let you see my stuff, but I'm going to mute you because that's just the toxic mindset. It took me 6 years. 6 years with no encouragement, no one sitting here pouring their insights and encouragement into me. I had the Lord. I shouldn't say it that. In terms of educators or teachers or people I bought books and courses and stuff from, none of them made themselves available like I try to do for you. And I went through a lot of emotional turmoil, psychological carnage, and it was all self-induced. But at the time, if you were asking me, I would have swore up and down it was the last person I tried to listen to. And that's a bitter pill to swallow when you're brand new, or if you're impulsive or lazy. It's easy to say, oh, it's that guy's fault. It's that person's course that messed me up, when it's just you trying to relinquish all responsibility. And in this industry, you have chosen, whether you realize it or not, to take on one of the most challenging things, and it requires the utmost focus and 100% personal responsibility. There's nobody's fault. There's nobody's blame for anything you do with your money but you. I don't put some kind of hypnotism on you and make you buy or sell anything, and no other educator does that either. If they have a ware or a product and you use that as a catalyst to get into a trade and it loses, whose responsibility is that? Yours. Absolutely yours. And it's easy to feel like you're a victim when you're unorganized. And it's convenient for people to reach for that as an excuse. Well, this guy really is not teaching everything. He's holding something back. Or, the free trial worked. It sucked me into it. And then when I tried to use it, paying for it, the black box system failed me. That's somebody that is really not equipped to be a trader. And I'm just going to be blunt and tell you that's exactly what that is. And if you're trying to be a trader, you have to understand in the first few years, it's going to be a lot of uphill, and it's going to be a lot of hit and miss where you think you have it and then you fall back a few steps. And it's easy if you're lazy. It's easy if you're not committed and not passionate about wanting to do this to talk yourself right out of it. That's why a lot of college dropouts drop out. They're either told by friends and family or influenced by someone that they like, and they say, well, I'm going to follow that person's footsteps. And they start their pursuit of the college degree. And in their first year, they're thinking, this is too much. And many times, just the prerequisite, the question of whether or not it's worthwhile for them comes up more frequently because they don't like what they're doing. They're not passionate about it. And when I was a working man in my 20s, I was plagued with this haunting desire to just be out of the normal. I wanted to be something different. I didn't want to be caught in this mundane existence that everybody in my family thought that they were successful because they had a 30-year mortgage on a house and paying 11% interest on their mortgage. And it's you're bitching right now that interest rates are high for mortgages, but I watch my uncles and aunts, buy homes for 80,000 and 90,000, which were at the time, they were pretty decent houses. They're not upscale, obviously, but one of my aunts and uncle, they owe more, 3 times more than their house was sold to them at purchase price, because they have not been good stewards of their money and finances, and they made poor decisions. I didn't want to follow anyone's footsteps when I was coming up. I just wanted to be different. I wanted to trailblaze, and everybody around me did their best to try to discourage me. And that's typically how the enemy works. He'll slip in and enter the mouth of your loved one, your friend, your coworker. And social media has provided a wonderful stage for the enemy, because he can slip into DMs, he can slip into a tweet or a response or a reply or a comment section on a YouTube video and steal your joy, steal your pursuit of excellence and your passion. And it's really important when you're navigating these markets that you really do your best to try not to have so much influencers around you. When you come into this industry, you're met with all kinds of enticements. Quit your job, get rich, drive these cars, go to these fancy places, get finer looking women, get a better man, all those types of things. And I found out early on, they were not my initial motivators, but when I had a taste of money, the very first few times where I had winning trades and I felt like I had it figured out when I didn't. And that's the problem with having the first few years of your trading. You're going to be convinced that you figured it out. Even if you're having short-term, immediate reward by doing something, you may not understand what it is that you did, but you're looking at the fact that you made that money. And because you want to feel good about yourself, and people like myself, where I felt like I had to prove something to the world, because my parents didn't want anything to do with me. My own parents didn't want that. And I was scheduled to be aborted. I wasn't even supposed to be here. But God said otherwise. And because of that, I had a chip on my shoulder. I still do. And the first person that gave me fatherly love and attention was my grandfather. And everything I do in my life, everything I do, I wish many times that I could get his approval. And I can't get it, right? So it constantly is like a fire under me that just keeps on burning. When I started making money, my position about what it is that motivated me, helped me navigate through all these ups and downs, was that, well, wait a minute, if I can make that much money, if I did this many contracts with that type of a move, then I could make $20,000 a month. Well, if I did $20,000 a month, that's like $250,000 a year almost. So that's what I'm gonna try to trade more aggressively. I want to make more money because I like how I feel. And if I could start flashing that, showing it to other people, then I would get that itch scratched. And I did all those types of things. And you know what? It didn't work. It was like a mosquito bite. Yeah, you felt it bite you, and it's pulling the little thing it sticks in you to suck the blood out of you. Then you either smack it or you start scratching it. Well, as soon as you scratch it, that's it. The histamine in your skin is going to go crazy, and it's going to start itching even more. So what I thought was going to satisfy that itch, to make me feel significant, to make me feel like I've arrived or worth being, here. Like I didn't find a purpose in life until I found trading. This was my whole purpose for being here. I'm convinced of it now, more so as a 51-year-old in August. I'm convinced that's why I was here. I was meant to be here. And it's not arrogance, because I was resisting that for a long time. Like, how did all these things happen where my mother just recently had an abortion right before she got pregnant with me? And it was only a threat by my father to take her life, literally. That's the reason why she gave birth to me. So imagine you come into the world and your father's locked up in prison for contract murder, doing 2 consecutive life sentences, plus 20 years, plus pick up more time for trying to escape in the early 80s. He's never getting out. He's going to die in there. And my mother didn't want anything to do with me. So I know what it's like for all of you, okay, that are trying to find your way out here, that you want to feel like you're somebody special, that you really matter, that you have a purpose, and you end up having like these montage moments. That's how it was for me when I was a young man. Like I would play music, and then in my mind, while I was driving, doing my job, I'm like, oh man, I'm listening to this music while I'm driving around. It's going to be like this when I get successful. It's going to be like that when I get successful. When I do this, I'm going to show that person, you know. And you might be laughing to yourself. You're thinking, yeah, I do that shit too. I would never tell it to anybody, but but that's what it was for me. And when I taught on baby pips, a lot of the things I taught with my lectures and such, I painted it in a light that it was like an action movie. It was like some kind of Tom Clancy, type thing, sniper, and it picked up. It got an audience, and then an audience learned, and they learned how to trade. And other people would ask them, "How'd you learn?" I learned from this guy on baby pips, and more people grew, and it just kept growing. And I don't know where you are in your walk. I don't know where you are in your learning. I don't know where you are in the world. I don't know your state of mind, but I've always had this deep-rooted desire to be, number one, identified, recognized. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a minute, you just opened this up by saying you don't want to be a celebrity. Yeah, I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't like just a little bit of notoriety I've received. Like it's extremely intrusive. And so many people are clamoring to get your attention and wanting to do things with you. And I don't feel like my life is mine anymore. Okay, there's people out there literally lying to you, using my name, claiming that I taught this in the forum and this and that. And it's not true. It's absolutely not true. And I put those core content lessons up on my YouTube channel for the express purpose to gift it to the community, number one. Two, to prove that everybody else out there that doesn't want to just simply give recognition. Like it's extremely offensive to see people pretend like they found this on their own. There's nothing. Listen, folks. Okay, this is for the people that like to go in the comment section of other people's videos and say I rebranded it. There's $1 million as a bounty. I have $1 million that I will pay if you sit down, go through my core content, go through all my PD arrays, okay, go through all that stuff, and show us all where I rebranded any of that bullshit. Okay, because it ain't happening. Okay, all that stuff that people talk about, it's just to steal your pursuit. And social media has a huge influence over people. Huge. Like I could be way bigger than I am if I wanted to be bigger. I don't want to be bigger. Like I'm uncomfortable. And some of you that might want to be where I am right now, as a 20-year-old, I didn't start that way, but about 4 years into it, this is exactly where I wanted to be at. And I knew I had something. If I made it available to other people, you would all eat it up because it's the market. It is the market. But in those early years, I was fleshing out the things that I had to overcome as a person. It was me that was doing all the damage. It wasn't the tools. It wasn't the concepts. It was me trying to force it when it wasn't there. And you don't realize that. You could become a really good trader learning from me. You could become a really good trader learning from anybody else. If they have something that works, the things that derail you are always internal. They're always internal. There's a there's a guy out there that I thought I was doing something nice. You know, I was trying to promote him and push him, and I don't know what caused him to flake out or whatever, but I'll just tell you this, Pat. Yes, Patrick Whelan. I know you listen to these, and I know you watch my videos, okay? And I see you on your live streams bitching and complaining about how, you know, the number one guru on Twitter trades in demo. You're trading in a demo. When you're trading those funded accounts, you're trading in a demo. You are trading in a demo. That's just the facts, okay? And what you're trying to do actually is hurting your brand. Like, don't get on there and dramatize about me. Just do what you're doing. And that's what I was trying to push you to do. Focus on what it is that you do. If you're good at trading and you have a model you trust and you can do it, there's going to be somebody out there that it fits for them. Not everybody. Everything I teach doesn't fit everybody. But understanding and reading price, that fits everybody's model. No matter what you do, the way I teach and show you where price is going to gravitate to, if you plug that into anything that already makes money, it supercharges it. I don't sit out here and talk about how you bought a Bronco and it wants to be a Jeep. Okay, I don't talk about all that stuff. Stop doing those sites because drama marketing does not work. It's short term. It gets a little bit of a buzz, a talk, a crowd. But unless you have the ability to hold that crowd and give them something of substance, you fizzle out and it ends up hurting you. It hurts your brand. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm watching you still. But when you do that and you rage quit on your live streams like that, it's not good. It doesn't do well for your brand. It doesn't do anything for your image. And if you're trying to grow, you're someone else, okay? Someone else that wants to do what it is that I'm talking about. Drama marketing doesn't work. It doesn't work. It just makes you look like you're insecure. It makes you feel like you have a superiority complex and you feel inferior. That's why these other influencers talk about me, because I'm beating the shit out of them. And I'm not even trying to. I'm still, right now, I'm trying to be gentlemanly and tell you, don't do that. This is how you help your own brand. Who would do that? Nobody else would do that. I want all of you to succeed. I want all of you to do well. I want you all to make money, because you're all going to be having a harder time in the next few years. It's going to get stupid.